Hey guys, so in this video we're going to go over a new build that I made. This one is a Architect of Chaos, and it is a armor stacker, I guess, yeah. And you can see this build is very focused on getting a lot of energy shield regeneration. You can see we get all the way up to about 53k, and I think you could probably get quite a bit more. I only really tested a few maps to see how much I could get, and basically, yeah, the goal of this character was to see we get a lot of ES regen, and also we're doing something a little different, something I want to try for a while, and basically using a precursor's emblem ring to get the iron reflexes node, because I think like a lot of times when you build armor stacker, you pretty much have to get iron reflexes, right? Like you can't play it without that keystone, and it's pretty far away for a lot of builds if you're playing on the top side of the tree and that kind of stuff. And so I wanted to see if we could do it with the precursor emblem ring. There is a mod on these rings that you can get, and basically you get iron reflexes while at maximum frenzy charges. So a couple ways to do that, and first you can do it with minimum frenzy charges, right? You get 3 minimum, then you're at your maximum, or you can reduce your maximum. I mean, that's not really all that ideal, but yeah. And you can also do it with the Relikish boots. So this for this character, I think I went the simple route and went with just the Relikish boots. So the ring and the Relikish boots, and we're pretty much always going to be at our maximum frenzy, so we always have iron reflexes. The regen from this build, this is kind of similar to the build I made in Affliction League, and you can see we actually can be in the Cirrus Storm. This is Uber Cirrus, so the storms do quite a bit more damage than the regular version or the storms that you would find in things like Volo's maps. The Uber versions are doing quite a bit more damage, and you can see we can actually stand in these storms, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, the regen is coming pretty much from the one of the Guardian Ascendancies, the Unwavering Faith node that the Guardian gets, that gives you 5% increased energy shield or life and mana recovery rate per aura. And so this gets attached to every single aura we have, and you can see we have quite a few auras, and then that also does get scaled by aura effect. So we have quite a bit of increased energy shield recovery rate, and then we get flat regen from things like the Watcher's Eye, from things like Vitality and Zealot's Oath, and then there's like a flask suffix for regenerate life per second, and that gets converted to energy shield regen. And then we also use the fire mastery for regenerate 1 life per overcap fire resistance. So we have quite a bit of base regen, and then on top of that, also using the divine shield node to basically get more regeneration every time you take physical damage. So in the beginning clip, you could see that's how we were actually getting 50k ES regen. Is pretty much all of that comes from Divine Shield. Okay, and then another thing that we're doing is, now this isn't really super practical in a sense, but you can use this rejuvenation totem, and this thing gives tons of ES regen. If we look right now in Hideout, I have about 8,100 ES regen, and if I use just the normal totem, you can see we go all the way up to 1,000 or 12,700 ES regen. And if we use the Vol version, then we're going to be getting quite a bit more. It gets kind of crazy, but it's not super practical. I guess for the Cirrus Storms is like kind of usable, but in normal gameplay you're probably never going to use these. So anyways, but I think even without the totem, I got all the way up to about 40k in maps with just Divine Shield and this setup, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, let's go over the character, how we're building it, and one of the cool things is actually going to be the precursor ring, because you can see here this character doesn't even path all down to the iron reflexes node, right? And so this ring is saving like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points or so on the tree. It is kind of sad giving up a ring slot. This could be, something else, like if it could be a Nimbus if you're doing a projectile skill, it could be Original Sin, it could be a Calandra's Touch to mirror our mirrored ring. So it is definitely not super ideal to use one of these, but if it's saving 13 points, then I think it is actually a good idea. Okay, so the Ascendancy for the Architect of Chaos, there was two Ascendancies I was thinking of, basically because I wanted to be on the Templar. The Puppeteer doesn't really do much, and I guess you could actually do the setup in the base game because nothing that we're doing on the Ascendancy is actually impacting how the character is built. So you could run this on a Templar in normal League and still get the same results. Maybe even better, actually, because that Ascendancy probably is going to be actually better for this build. But anyways, so Architect of Chaos, because we get the +3 to all Vol skill gems, and that's kind of pretty much it. Also, the Glimpse of Chaos, this gives quite a bit of extra energy shield. So Glimpse of Chaos, and what we can do is we can just get a bunch of Vol skills. So you can see we have Vol Discipline, a level 34 Discipline. We can get Vol Grace, right? And then so we get some more levels on that. And then I think there's one other we can get, like Vol Haste, and also like Vol Purity of Elements. I think we have it here, or Purity of Fire. Right, so we can get some Vol skills to get some extra levels on our gems, and this ends up being quite a big DPS increase. And then also the Glimpse of Chaos giving us quite a bit of extra energy shield. And then I haven't really done much with the Vol skills, but I guess if you're playing something like Vol Lightning Strike, you could do some fun things with, you know, getting like a lot of Vol skill, what do you call Soul Gain Prevention, and maybe even go crit, and you do a lot of fun things there. But I haven't really done that. I'm just playing regular boring Smite because it's just kind of simpler to set up. Okay, so how do we set the ring up? And basically, so I'm using the ring, I mean the Relikish boots. But I was also thinking of doing, this guy too, the Poly, because this small Ascendancy nodes are all giving global defense, which would be kind of nice, I think. And it also does get the 30% more maximum damage. As you can see, it's quite a big DPS increase. And it also does have these 3 minimum frenzy charges. So this alone would allow us to not have to use the Relikish boots, and we could actually just use a normal pair of boots. So I was thinking of doing this, but due to some of my gear, the current gear I have, you can see my ring has +1 frenzy, so that would pretty much not work. I would have to get another minimum frenzy somewhere, and since a lot of my items are actually mirrored, I can't actually just craft on that, and it would be kind of a hassle. So I decided to just use the Relikish boots to make things simple, but technically you could just do it with this, right, with a 3 minimum frenzy, and use a normal pair of boots and get a lot more energy shield. Anyways, but so yeah, a lot of ways to actually make this ring work. The way we're doing with Relikish is a little bit simpler because I don't know, like there is you could do like Grand Spectrums and this kind of stuff, but then you have to get jewel sockets, and I think the Guardian, or not Guardian, or one of the base Ascendancies actually does get this +3, so you could use that. But anyways, a lot of ways to get this thing going, and I guess Relikish in this event was the simplest way. So that's pretty much the ring covered. And as far as the regen, so I did say 50k in the title, and you can see we're only at about 8,000. So like, what's going on here? And it's kind of dependent on a lot of different things. So in order to get the 50k, you need to be, I guess, taking a lot of physical damage, right? And then your Divine Shield will start to work, and you'll get more energy shield regen. But there's a couple other things, and I'm not even really focusing on regen on my gear. Like I could get regen here on my gloves, on my body armor. There is even mods on rings you can get, or the helmet. So you could actually push this base ES regen in hideout all the way over to 10k probably. But anyways, I'm just using gear that I had from my Aristocat armor stacker, so it's not like super focused on regen. We're just getting whatever we can pretty much, right? And also, so since the how would you say, the Unwavering Faith, it gives you ES regen per aura whenever we use a Vol skill. I guess we can go and check it out inside of a map and make it a bit easier to kind of see what's happening. All right, so let's just jump into one of these Volo maps. Right, so first of all, let's take a look at our ES regen. And 8,100, and whenever I use Smite is going to give me another buff, or another aura, so you can see my ES regen goes up when I use Smite. And then also, if I were to use things, if we get some Vol Souls, um, one second here, guys. Okay, so if we use our, for example, our Vol Haste, we're also going to be getting, let's just use it right now. This is also giving more ES regen, right? So we can actually just go and push all of our Vol skills, like our Vol Smite, or Vol Discipline, Vol Haste. I'm not going to be pushing the Vol Impurity of Fire. There's too many buttons, but you know, the more auras you have, the more regen you're going to be getting. So when we're actually in combat, this will go up quite a bit. And then if we use all of that on top of our Vol Rejuvenation Totem, ES regen is going to be kind of going crazy. You see we have 8,000 now. With the normal totem, we have 1,000 or 12,700. And if we use our Vol Rejuvenation Totem, then you can see we go all the way up to 17,000. Right, and that's without any of these other kind of buffs or anything like that. So for a very brief moment, we can get pretty crazy ES regen. Yeah, and as you can see, these normal little Cirrus Storms in Valdo's maps are not really doing anything. Oh, this is some kind of boss. So let's just kill the boss off real quick. Okay, so let's go back and talk about the gear. Not really much to talk about, except that, yeah, I guess let's just first go over everything we have. So we're using 2 swords, and then we're going to be using my mirrored helmet. This is just your basic kind of standard gem level helmet, but this time around having a little bit of rarity for farming the rogues. And I think also this character, I'm not very good at farming rogues. I did try some, but I think pretty much you want block and spell block for those. Just pure regen, even though we can get some pretty crazy numbers against the rogues because they're doing a lot of fizz damage. There's a lot of modifiers that mess with regen. Typically, first of all, there's map mods like cannot regen. There's less recovery rate. There is Eldritch Altar mods that are going to mess with your regen. There's Delirium debuffs that are less regeneration. And overall, it's not as reliable as the Aegis Aurora Aristocat version. I think that one is way better at farming the rogues because just, you know, Aegis Aurora is recovery, it's not regen, so it doesn't really get affected by those mods. Anyways, so not the best at farming those, but, you know, damage is actually pretty good, I would say, for this kind of setup. So you could, you know, anything but rogues. I mean, you can probably farm rogues on it, but I mean, it's not as good as the other Aegis Aurora version that I was playing on the Aristocat. Okay, so let's finish off with the gear. I'm using my Regalia or Armor Overcap. This one requires quite a lot of int, and if we were to use a necrotic armor, we would be getting quite a bit more damage, actually like 40 to even like 50-60% more damage from using a necrotic armor. But I just wanted this one to have more energy shield, because in this version we're using some masteries like the mastery here to regenerate 2% of ES. We also have a Watcher's Eye mod where we regenerate 2.47% of ES per second. So the bigger our ES value, the more percent regen we get. So I wanted to get quite a bit of ES regen. I think damage was fine anyways with this, but the necrotic armor would be a bit more damage. And then I'm using my +4. So this is another reason why I wanted to use Ralakesh, because you can see my amulet has -4 minimum endurance charges. So that means I wouldn't have any endurance charges if I were to use this node here, the Devout of Ralakesh, because it would kind of overwrite that anyways. So that's kind of why I'm also using the Ralakesh boots. And then going to be using a synth ring, right? I mean, these mods on the ring are not ideal for this specific character, but I mean, it gets the job done. And this is the Precursor's emblem. You only really need the Iron Reflex node. The regenerate life per frenzy is nice as well, I guess, but I mean, none of these other mods that I've found are very impactful, I think, so far at least. I mean, there's not that many of these. Okay, and then we have our Mage Blood and gloves. These gloves as well, you know, this is what I was using from before. Okay, so this character has a little bit of weird suffixes we need. So we definitely want this regenerate 3% life, because this gets boosted by the, flask effect and ends up being quite a bit of ES recovery. We do need some armor, I guess, right? Because we're armor stacker. And then also do need this additional elemental resistances to cap our resistance. And also it does give us more regen from the fire mastery. And then we also do need chance to avoid being stunned, because we can't really go and grab the unwavering stance, and we don't have enough dex tattoos to tattoo on chance to avoid being stunned. Okay, so one other thing is the tincture. So this build doesn't actually have any leech either. And I have a decent amount of mana regen. You can see about 230 mana regen, and it goes up in combat. It's the same with our ES regen. It'll go up every time we get a new aura. So like whenever we use smite, we'll get a little bit more mana regen. And this is enough to sustain our attacks. We're not going to run out of mana for our attacks, even though our attacks are costing like 48 mana. But for Tincture Sustain, this is actually pretty bad. I think not having like Leech or Instant Leech for your Tincture is going to feel kind of bad. So it's actually hard for me to actually sustain the Tincture. I really don't like this Tincture Sustain. And probably if I got more mana regen or even just got some mana leech, it'd be fine. But at the current state with just this like 230 mana regen, it doesn't really feel that good. So uptime pretty bad on the Tincture. So I think that's pretty much the gear. Let's go over the tree. So for the passive tree, since we are using the ring, we don't have to go down to Iron Reflexes. We can kind of stay in this top part of the tree. We could use this Scion area because this area has one of the best brutal restraints in the game. Pretty much this is a 24% increased aura effect jewel. It's going to give us quite a lot more aura effect, and aura effect is affecting our... Alright, sorry about that, guys. Well, D&D. Our effect is infecting our regen, and since the amount of regen we get from our energy shield recovery rate we get from Unwavering Faith is 5%, we do want to definitely hit some breakpoints because this number is going to round down and not up, right? So if we have, 300% increase, that's going to be 15% increased aura effect, our recovery rate. But if we only have, like say, 2.7 or 2.5, it's not going to be 15%, right? It's going to kind of round down. So I think right now, if we take a look here, we have 15% increased per aura. Some auras have a bit more because individual increases to auras are going to affect this as well. So you can see our grace is actually getting 70% because we have some, grace aura effect. And then the 16 is from determination because we have a bit of that on the ring. And if we take a look at our aura effect, we're at 3.13. So, pretty big aura effect, and I think we're actually only able to get this much aura effect because we're using the precursor emblem ring, and we can actually go and get all of these extra little points here. I think if we weren't using the precursor emblem, we'd have to path up this way, skip this entire area, and then path all the way down here for Iron Reflexes. So, yeah, the ring, very cool, and that we can actually do that kind of stuff. Aside from that, some other things that we're doing is, not really that much special to talk about. Actually, just everything here is kind of standard stuff. For the watch design, we got a pretty nice one. I would like to have the lightning pen with Wrath instead of this clarity mod, but I guess the clarity mod kind of nice because it does give some extra energy shield. And as for defenses, we do have some endurance charges. We have about 4, I think, or we have 3 endurance charges. You can get another one if you get like +1 endurance charge on your boots. I have one of these actually, but I actually do need the mana from the +1 socketed gems, because my Enlighten is there. You can find it somewhere. Yeah, so you can get +1 endurance on your boots and get 4 endurance charges. But yeah, and there's another one nearby you can grab. So we have 3 endurance charges, and then we're also doing the less damage taken per 200 intelligence. So right now we have 1000 int, So that's another 10% or 5% reduced damage taken. So it's like another endurance charge, pretty much. So that's not that, it's pretty nice, right? It's not like anything huge. So this character is not super tanky. If we go into POB, you could see with our guard skill, we have about 216k max hit. A lot of the reason why we actually do have that much is because we just have a lot of energy shield. And you can see without our Molten Shell, we have about 155k. If we use our Frost Shield, we really want to tank up, we can go up to about 285k. So defense is not super thick, but definitely good enough for a lot of things in the game. As far as DPS goes, this is just using Smite with like, right? So we have about 300 mil DPS. Now, if we really want to go, you know, further on DPS, we could actually go for like the Necrotic Armor. You can see this is like another 40% more damage. We are going to be losing some max hit, but you can see DPS numbers go up by quite a bit. So, and you know, if we had like a Watcher's Eye with Wrath Pen and we focused a bit more on damage, we could actually go get quite a bit more damage. But yeah, this setup mainly focused on trying to get a lot of energy shield regen. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for the build. We'll have these linked in the video and in the Armor Stacker Compendium. Go check out if you're interested. Yeah, pretty fun playing with the Precursor Emblem Ring. As far as the regen goes, it was pretty good. I mean, it's kind of similar to what I did in Affliction League, so nothing really has changed with that. But mainly, yeah, I guess wanting to try this Precursor Emblem Ring, and it definitely did work out as far as like a functional build. So it's kind of cool. Maybe some tech you can use in the future if things in the game change drastically or something like that. Anyways, that'll be it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.